I got involved in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging initiatives several years ago, something like 8, 9 years ago, I want to say. And at the time, we weren't calling it DEIB, at least at the organization I was in. Maybe they were, in other circles, people were saying DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. We were just talking about diversity at the time. So this was back to that coding school that I worked at, trying to bring folks from different backgrounds into the tech industry. We were trying to diversify the tech industry. That was one of our partial focuses. So as I was doing this work, or as I was working at this coding school, I joined our diversity circle, we called it. It was like a diversity focus group within the organization. I then ended up leading this diversity focus group circle within the organization. So I was leading different discussions about, how we can bring more diversity into the tech space, how we can create more of an inclusive culture. So here's where we started to talk about the inclusion side of things. I was also running different panels of different tech co-founders from different backgrounds talking about their experiences and hopefully inspiring others to get involved as well and just to make change as well. We were also giving recommendations to our organization about different paths that we thought we should take moving forward, different ways that we could improve internally so that we could improve our overall effect on the tech industry. So it was a really inspiring and exciting space to be in, and I just kind of untapped a passion area of mine. So diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. A lot of folks probably think, and I can relate to this to an extent, this isn't for me. A founder might think, I don't need to focus on DEIB work until I become a larger organization. I would argue the opposite is true. If somebody, a startup founder in their small team or even larger team, if they get it right from the beginning, if they have a general understanding of why diversity is important for an organization, which I'll gladly explain another time, of why and how to create more inclusive working culture and working practices, you will be set up for success from the beginning to create a flourishing, more innovative, and more successful organization later on. And so, reminder what I just said, it is imperative, not just a nice to have, it's imperative that founders from the beginning get diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging right. So it doesn't mean that you need to hire somebody right away. It does mean, however, that you need to start some conversations, to take some paths to education for yourself and for your workforce around you, and to create some strategies and ideally, too, some different ways of doing things, some different practices, policies, procedures, so that you have an intentional path of recruiting, so that you have an intentional path of performance ratings for employees. So you have a different path for bringing in new vendors into your space and overall ways of doing things. Again, if you get it right at the beginning, it's going to be so much easier in the long run, and you'll be more successful in the long run.